This Basics of Risk Management series is brought to you by Risk Garage. Part 4. Risk Assessment. As mentioned in the previous videos, risk management is an effective process to communicate and control risks. And it can be applied in our daily activities. A risk management process is represented in the flow chart below. After we have set our objectives and have identified the threats and opportunities, the next important step is to assess and rank them. Let's introduce two risk attributes, which are required for risk assessment. They are probability and risk impact. In risk management, probability is sometimes used interchangeably with likelihood. Probability or likelihood represents the chance a risk event would happen, and is usually measured in percentage. If an event has 20% chance of occurrence, it also means that it will happen twice when you do the tasks 10 times. Risk impact is an estimate of the potential loss or gain associated with a risk event. Let's say there is a goal defined by the owner, and the risk impact will affect the goal. A threat will incur loss, and an opportunity will enhance value gain. The goals can be either qualitative or quantitative. Examples of qualitative impacts are quality and reputation. And quantitative impacts can be on cost and schedule. We will use an example to illustrate this later. Risks are usually assessed against a risk assessment matrix, which is also known as RAM. A RAM is a tabular format that have the two criteria, i.e. probability of occurrence and risk impact, as the column and row of the grid. The RAM size can be 3 by 3 or 5 by 5. The choice of RAM size is usually subject to number of risks, complexity of the scope, and preference of the project team. For each risk, its probability of occurrence and its impact can be assigned qualitatively, such as high, medium, and low, for a 3 by 3 RAM. And each of these verbal scales can be related to a scale value. The cells in the matrix represent severity, and are usually color-coded. Those falling in the red zone are more severe than those in the green zone. Let's use a house construction scope to illustrate the setting up of a RAM. The house owner, John, has done his estimate of the scope, and has set 3 goals, or objectives, for his house construction project. Goal number 1, the construction cost should not be more than $100,000. Goal number 2, the construction duration should not be longer than 15 months. And goal number 3, the built quality must be good. The first 2 goals are quantitative, as their impacts are quantifiable. However, the quality goal is qualitative, and its impact will be described in words. John has decided to use a 5 by 5 RAM with descriptions of very low, low, medium, high, and very high as the scales. The value ranges for scales need to be predefined before the risk assessment. John first defines the probability ranges for each scale, based on his understanding of probability. Next, let's look at how John defines the impacts related to his goals. For cost and schedule impacts, he first sets the very high impact as increase in more than 10% of base cost and duration. Then, John starts deriving the impact ranges for other scales. The percentage can be translated to values conveniently. For the quality impact, John derives the descriptions, after getting professional advice from his contractor. I would like to remind that the probability and impact ranges can be adjusted based on your risk appetite. After John and his contractor have identified a list the risks, their probabilities and impacts are assessed qualitatively. The assessment is done based on their past experience and expertise. Let's assume they have identified and assessed 5 threats, and their assessment outcome is shown below. Some risks can have impacts on more than one goal. For example, a risk can impact on the quality, and the contractor will need more time to fix it. When the threats are listed in a table, we would not know which threats would require more focus. Therefore, we can place the threats on the RAM for risk ranking. For simplicity purposes, if a threat has more than one impact, we will select the highest impact value among them. Once the threats are displayed on the RAM, the threats with higher severities can be easily spotted. Then John can pay attention to those threats with higher ranking. For opportunities, we can do the same. But a separate RAM will be used to house them. Similarly, those opportunities with higher ranking should get more attention. If we can materialize the opportunities, it could result in cost saving and shorter construction duration. Hope this video provides some good information on risk assessment. If you have other good tips, could you please share with me? Thank you, and see you again.